Guys, I think we could be looking at a path for Bitcoin to rise all the way up to $66,000, which is practically, by the way, might I remind you, which is practically at our previous all-time high because of one simple thing that's happening actually to the dollar index. And I want to show you this to you in just a second because this is really, really important, right? You guys know that I like to take into consideration what's happening in the real world because it has a big effect on the crypto markets, in my opinion. And see, one of the key things that we know very, very well in this market is that, you know, when the dollar is rising, Bitcoin is generally going to suffer quite a lot. When the dollar is dropping, Bitcoin is generally going to be doing quite well. And there's so many examples of this that I've shown you guys, but I just want to give you all a quick reminder if, for example, you weren't subscribed or you just want to know about this. So make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss out on this content. Obviously, it's very, very important. But, you know, what I want to highlight to you on this chart right here. I'm just wondering if there is a way for me to no, I can't make this a logarithmic chart. It doesn't really matter. I want to show you what was happening to the dollar and at the same time what was happening to Bitcoin. And so take a look at this, right? And now you're gonna have to bear with me because this is very hard to demonstrate because I can't change the scale. Actually, yeah, I can. My bad. Right here, change the scale like this and drag it up. See, between kind of December 2016 and January 2018, the dollar started dropping by quite a bit, right? It dropped from a high of about 103 all the way down to a low of about 91, which is quite a big drop on this index, meaning that it lost a lot of strength against other global currencies and so on. And in that very same time, Bitcoin, this orange line, shooting up from about, I mean, this was $700 all the way up to that all-time high, of course, at 20,000. Then the dollar bottoms out, and this is where you start seeing a very, very powerful pattern here. The dollar bottoms out and it starts rallying really, really nicely. Let me just remove all these lines. It starts rallying really, really nicely from a low of about 88 up to a high of about 103. And in that very same time, if I show all of my lines again, you can see that Bitcoin enters a disgusting bear market, right? Take a look at this. As while the dollar is really, really shooting up, Bitcoin is dropping down. So there's a very clear inverse correlation where the dollar's sadness is Bitcoin's joy, and Bitcoin's joy is the dollar's sadness. And so this, I think, is a very important thing to keep in mind because if we take a look at where the dollar is right now, it's effectively in a little bit of a falling wedge pattern. Now, you could say that it's in a descending triangle as well, which would be something a little bit like this. And I think this would also be valid. But just given the fact that the market, this dollar index chart is in quite a bullish formation right now, I think it's more likely to be a little bit of a falling wedge pattern, which might look a little bit more like this. One second while I draw it for you, something a little bit like this. And if this is the case, well, then we could be looking at how do I draw this correctly? I've forgotten how I'm supposed to draw this. Something a little bit like this. You know, then we could be looking at a drop from, you know, potentially the support level down here to its next area of support, or a rise up from the resistance to its next resistance area. And I actually have a chart which is a little bit better than this already drawn for you guys. So let me just pull that up right here. Bear with me. This chart illustrates this a little bit better, basically showing us where the next resistance is on this chart, right? The dollar has about a 1% move to the upside if it manages to get a breakout on the upside, and it has about a 1% drop to the downside if it manages to drop by, you know, below its support. And the reason that we came down to a 1% move is if you measure the move that the dollar made from the beginning of this falling wedge pattern, if you measure it from the very beginning to the very top, it is roughly a 1.1% rise. And so we'd be expecting a similar breakout to the upside or to the downside, and it lines up with key technical levels on this chart. So the first one that I really want to draw your attention to before I talk about the 66K price prediction is what happens if Bitcoin drops down to this is the 66K price prediction. What happens if Bitcoin, if the US dollar index drops down to the 94.661 area? That's a 1% drop, and that would take the US dollar down to its, the last time that it traded at this area, at the 94.661 area, the last time the US dollar was here was on the 10th of November. And if we take a look at the price of Bitcoin at that very same time, let me show you this chart. This is where it's going to blow your mind. This was actually pretty much when Bitcoin was setting its all-time high. Take a look at this right here. This chart showing us also what was happening on the 10th of November. And it's pretty clear right here that Bitcoin was trading at that $66,000 level on this day. And like I said, guys, when the dollar is dropping, Bitcoin generally tends to rise really well. And this is an important thing to keep in mind, because a 1% move for the dollar index means a lot for Bitcoin, right? And that can take Bitcoin, I mean, quite literally. I'm not, you guys know me, like I make big price predictions as the basis of a video, but I'll always reel it in and keep it realistic. But this is the thing, is I keep it realistic. And this is where, I mean, I can very easily see Bitcoin getting a plus $20,000 pump because of where the dollar index was previously, because a 1% move can be quite a lot for the market. But equally, I want to remind you guys that actually, since the dollar was at that level, where was it, like right around over here, since the dollar was at that level and it got a 1% move to the upside, or whatever the move was, Bitcoin actually dumped by $20,000. And so if I move us back to this chart right now, I was first outlining to you what happens if the dollar drops, but we know that the dollar is more likely to actually continue rising, and it's more likely to continue rising because it's already in an uptrend. And so, I mean, generally, I mean, that's just what the trend says, right? I mean, if you were doubting the trend over here, you would have been wrong. If you were doubting it over here, you would have been temporarily right and then very, very wrong, and so on. At every single instance, you would have been wrong if you were doubting the dollar, and that's why it's a bad idea to fight with the trend. It's the very same reason that, and I think this is an important thing to keep in mind, is like a great example is a shitcoin like Shiba. It's the very same reason that people who are bullish on Shiba, buying it over here, or 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 over here, are consistently wrong. And that's why, by the way, we see such big crashes, because most people are smart enough to know that, and they get the fuck out. It's like being in a burning building and then wondering why you get burned when you buy the shitcoin. It's the same reason, again, that if you were bullish on Bitcoin at its support levels, like very bullish, you would have gotten constantly burned on this chart, right? You just have more opportunities to be correct if you align with the trend. And right now, that trend for the dollar is to the upside, as is very, very clear by this chart. So if we move it back to this chart that I had pre-drawn for you guys, a 1.1% move to the upside, that can trigger quite a nasty sell-off. Now, like I said, we were $20,000 higher when the dollar was over here. This is a 1.05 gap, or a little bit more than that from our current price on this index. I don't actually know what word this is. If it's, I can't say you could say it's a 1.053 point gap. But nonetheless, we'd be looking at something similar, actually a little bit more, if the dollar manages to rise. And I think that could be setting up Bitcoin for potentially experiencing another one of those big crashes. And obviously this is where it gets a lot less fun, because if the dollar is about to find another quite large rise to the upside, it is potentially quite scary to imagine what might happen to Bitcoin, right? If we draw this in terms of percentage drop, when we went from $66,000 to our current price, that was a 30% drop. So if we're looking at a similar 30% drop right now, that's going to put us at about you can't see this, hang on. That's going to put us at about a $30,000 Bitcoin. Let me just draw this for you all so you can see this very clearly. Bam, $32,000 Bitcoin. But if we get a similar dollar drop, that would be a 20K drop. And all of a sudden, we'd be looking at something a lot less nice. This would be at $25,000 for a potential target. And that's all to say that if the dollar continues to rise, I think that it's only responsible to expect a lot of blood. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I do think that it's quite clear that that's the trend right now, and I don't like saying it, right? I just want to make this really, really clear, because people are going to be seeing me as the spawn of fucking Satan right now. But most of my net worth is in Bitcoin, right? Most of my net worth is in crypto, and I am personally incentivized to see these markets rise up. So when I tell you that I think they're going to drop, that's not me being a doomsday person. That's me being realistic. And if you guys appreciate that, do me a favor and smash up the likes on this channel and subscribe. There's not a lot of people that have the balls to do this in this space these days, because for real, if you rally with the bulls and you keep jacking each other off in the market like that, you're going to get all the views and the subscribers and so on. And that's not what this channel is about. That's why we've grown to this size with a very concentrated and high IQ audience. And guys, I really appreciate you supporting me through that, because obviously this is quite a big deal to be able to do, and potentially open myself up to quite a lot of hate. So thank you all for showing me that that is absolutely great for you all. And yeah, like I said, that's why I think that we should be prepared for it, right? If the dollar is going to rise up again, I think Bitcoin is going to really struggle to hold these levels. From a technical perspective, I think it looks extremely, like Bitcoin in a vacuum, I think it looks extremely bullish. But just when you consider the other external circumstances happening in the world right now, it's just not that simple. And that's why I think it's really, really important to acknowledge this stuff. I mean, like I said, I think if Bitcoin manages to rise up to 66K or even above these resistance areas, I'm sure we'll just shoot off to new all-time highs and rise above $70,000, for example. But of course, that is contingent, I think, in large part on the dollar. And by the way, I just want to note that it's not like this move to me makes a lot of sense, right? Like, I mean, the only reason that the dollar is rising in this index, and let's just break this down, right? The index means that this is a comparison of the dollar against other currencies, right? The dollar itself is extremely weak, and that's important to keep in mind. I don't think that this kind of move from a fundamental, just pure knowledge perspective makes sense. But from a technical perspective, like I said, this has been the trend for quite some time now. So that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention, put it on your radar. But guys, I do need to go now, unfortunately. I was telling you all about the 𝗧𝗙𝗦 launch, by the way. That has gone really, really well. Let me just show you how it's been performing. I was telling you guys that I was expecting a big move for 𝗧𝗙𝗦, and it's actually performing pretty sensibly, in my opinion. Take a look at this. So it's trading at $1.13 right now. It opened at 4 cents, so it saw a massive open pump right there. It's already up by like 40x or something crazy. Maybe not 40x, but something very, very high. And it is just, I mean, yeah, it is trading sideways on a different level right now. So there's not much I can say about this chart as it stands at the moment. I put it this way though. One thing that I do want to just highlight to you guys is that this coin right now at this price is at roughly, I think like a $30 million market cap. Let me just confirm that real quick, because I'm not sure if 𝗧𝗙𝗦 is even on coin market cap yet, but if it is, we can verify that right now and just see exactly what price level, what market cap 𝗧𝗦 is at. Let's see this as it loads. Market cap of, it doesn't say the market cap, but it is at roughly a 30 to 40 million market cap, if my math was correct. Yeah, no data for this quite yet. This will update relatively soon. That's if my math is correct. It might not be. Sometimes I'm a complete idiot, but I do still think that it's a very, very small coin. So that's why I'm still quite excited for it. But of course, guys, you know what to do. I do need to get going. If you have enjoyed this video, hit up the like, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. If you want to jump inside a 𝗬𝗡𝗡𝗧 VIP, these are the steps on screen. You already know all about it. And the Bybit promotion is back. So if you want to trade on Bybit, which is the only exchange I'm using, and you can buy 𝗧𝗦 on it, you can use my link in the description down below, and you're going to get up to $4,100 for free when you use that link in the description down below. So go ahead and check it out. I'll see you all in the very next video. Bye bye.